about it, I want to share something with you because I want you to catch something. I want you to understand that you are privileged to be able to take care of these people. And I want you to understand it's not about money. If you're seeing large numbers of people, money will come to you. It's not about seeing a few people, seeing a few hours that you work and see how much money you can take from each individual. It's not about pocketbook therapy. It's about taking care of the folks. It's about taking care of all the people and doing it with absolute love and passion and desire and being able to tenderly and gingerly become a part of their family and they become a part of yours. And it's a miraculous thing that happens. It's a wonderful thing that happens. And it was on a Saturday, about 12:30. And I was leaving, and a man came in, and he was carrying a child. And he said, "Are you open?" And I said, "Well, I was just leaving. I was just finishing up." And he said, "Could you see us?" And I said, "Sure." So he took this child in and laid her down, put her on the table. And when he did, her wig fell off, and she was completely bald. And he looked at me and he said, my daughter, we just came from the hospital. She had her last battery of chemo. She has leukemia. And they said it's failing and she's going to die. He said, is there anything you can do? And I looked at him, square in the eyes, and I said this: I have no idea, but I can move the bone and God can do the healing. And he started to cry. And he said, why didn't anybody ever tell me this before? I said, I don't know. But let's do something. Let's check her out. And let's start working with her. And I want you to come in every single day. And I mean every day, 7 days a week. And that means you're coming in on Sundays, holidays. It makes no difference. You're going to bring her in here. We're going to check her to see that she's holding the adjustment. Because unless she holds the adjustment, she can't heal. It's impossible. He said, okay. So he brought her every day. And I had my office held 350 people in the waiting room. And I worked on a stage, not this high, but on a stage up front that was guarded in the front with beautiful lattice work. And there was a large television in the front that continued to play and promote and talk about chiropractic. I was in there adjusting people, and I heard a murmur. I stepped out, and they said, Doc, somebody in the back needs you. And I looked back, and I couldn't see who it was, but it was somebody, and he was crying, and he was howling. Sounded like he was in terrible pain. And they said, you better go back. Well, did you ever have a dream? I know I've had these dreams where somebody's after you, and you try to run away, and your feet don't move. Did you ever do that? That's the way my feet were. I thought, God, I don't know who it is or what's going on, so I got to go back there. So I sort of struggled back. And as I got closer, I saw who it was. It was the child's father. And he was on his knees, and he was crying. And I was going to go up and touch him and say, well, she's in a better place. You know, of course, I'm being a positive thinker. I was sure she was dead. But before I made a complete fool of myself and said, she's in a better place. How do I know where she is? He looked up at me and she said, she's not here. I had that figured out. And as tears streamed down his eyes, he said, Doc, she feels so good. She said, Daddy, there's a dance over at Spring Grove High School. Can I go there? I can live this all over. Can I go there instead of to the doctor? And he said, sure. So there she was at the dance, and there was Daddy on his knees in a prayerful attitude, crying and saying once again, why didn't somebody tell me this before? And as they looked at him, there was a young lady there that did paintings, and we had panels, 4 by 8 panels, and she later, in watercolor, painted him on his knees with his hands up, saying, why didn't somebody tell me this before? Unfortunately, we had a lot of children. We would see maybe 100 to 150 children a day. This particular day, some of them had water guns, and they squirted the panel, and it all ran because it was watercolor. And but the idea was there, you see. But, you know, we could stand up here and tell you story after story about wonderful things that happen in chiropractic, some miraculous things, and they're all miraculous things. But let's talk about just briefly about something. I'm sure that you all know what the first principle of chiropractic is. I won't ask you, but I'm sure you do. And it states this, that there's a universal intelligence in every particle of matter that maintains its existence and gives it all its properties. So if we were to just stop and think about that, this could change your whole consciousness about this thing called chiropractic. That if we, in fact, could realize how many particles of matter make up the universe, and if we then could think in terms of an intelligence being in every particle of matter that maintains its existence. So that tells us that we wouldn't exist, the planet wouldn't exist, the universe wouldn't exist if there was not an intelligence in the matter. And it maintains its existence and gives it all its properties. So what are the properties of matter other than solids and liquids and gases? So what if it were changing every 2 or 3 minutes? 1 minute I'd be looking at you as you are, and the next minute I would look out there and see nothing but gas vapors if they were existing, and or things would constantly change, you see. But the stability of the universe is because there's an intelligence in all the matter. Now that's a magnificent thing. And you have to think about this universal intelligence as it comes into you, it enters into the cranium, and this magnificent brain of yours, beside all the other things that it does, converts that universal intelligence to innate intelligence. Innate intelligence is the intelligence inside of you that does the same thing, maintains your existence and gives you all of your properties. Does the healing, allows you to adapt, allows you to replicate, allows you to reproduce, wants you to survive, because it'll never do anything to harm you, wherein universal intelligence will come after you if need be. Catch this idea. If there is an interference to the expression of life from the brain to the tissue cell called a subluxation, and as a result, this tissue cell, which is the end organ, begins to dysfunction. And as it dysfunctions, it begins to lose its vibration. And as it loses its vibration, it's incapable of working and incapable of providing 100% for that particular organism. As that continues to occur and we still have a subluxation, tell me this. We have a major subluxation. Let's say it's an atlas subluxation affecting the brain stem. And we have now a great diet. Here's a better idea. There's a hospital in Baltimore that's advertising this. And this is how it says. He's 40 years old. He runs 3 miles every day. He eats very well. And in 4 days, he's going to die of a heart attack. Why would he die of a heart attack? If he's running every day, he's exercising, he's eating well, he's young, what's going to kill him? Pardon? Lack of nerve supply. Because we have an interference at the brain stem. The brain stem is the guy that runs your physiology. Put pressure on the brain stem, and we have the all or none law up here that says, I give you everything or I give you nothing. So if we had 1 million or 1 trillion fibers going to the heart, isn't it possible the heart would begin to fail regardless? So if, in fact, do we treat heart disease? No. You just said that the body can heal itself of any disease known to man. What do you treat? Nothing. Well, what do I do as a chiropractor? The thing that I do as a chiropractor is determine that every visit, somebody comes in and walks out with less subluxation than they walked in. That my entire purpose is to correct subluxation. If I correct the subluxation and I'm capable of maintaining that correction so that there's maximum expression of life from the brain to the tissue cell, then what we've done for that individual is increased his or her potential, period. We haven't treated anything. We haven't treated symptoms. We haven't treated conditions. We haven't treated diseases. We have brought the potential of this organism up to the level in where it can heal itself. Because there's an intelligence in here, in you, and the greatest doctor in the world is inside of you. And we talk about us being healers. The only person that you can ever heal is yourself.